Hey guys, welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over how to be the best loan officer based on books that I've read from top producers. Now, this is part 2 of the series, so make sure you check out part 1 if you haven't. It's 40 minutes of great, solid data. This is going to be another one of those videos, and as always, make sure you guys purchase these books. I'll have the links down below. These are just things that I pulled out that I thought were super helpful and useful. When you go to read the book, there might be things or probably will be things that you're like, hey, Enrique didn't mention this and I think this is great for my business, or this really stands out to me. Make sure you get these 2 books. The first one is Loan Officer Freedom by Carl White, and the second one is Loan Officer Champions by Carl White. And I'll tell you guys which one is my favorite of the 2. Usually I go over 3 books in these episodes, but there was so much data in the Champions that I was like, hey, I have to do 2 books or else this video is going to be an hour long. So make sure you stay to the end of this video. Let's get started. All right, so the first point is on page 8. There probably aren't too many people who make less per loan than I do. Instead of getting 100% of a grape, I'd rather get 50% of a watermelon. That's very interesting, because I was just the other day at an expo where the top producer in the mortgage industry was speaking. He's from Loan Factory. I don't know his name, but he was talking about that exact same point. He was like, my first 2 years, I didn't charge anything. Like he barely made anything on every single deal. He was like, I was charging so little, but I was getting the best rates for my clients and getting the best service for my clients and getting the best price. Right? He was like, you guys should do and can do all 3. So I thought it was very interesting that he mentioned that in this book, Carl White, that also another top producer, like, hey, I'm not trying to make $1 billion off of every deal. I'd rather make, $1 billion off of more deals than trying to make $1 billion, or like he said, 100% of a grape is that much. Where if you get 50% of a watermelon, you're talking about like that much, right? So I thought that was very interesting, something to think about. So the second part I want to go over in this book is actually an entire chapter, and it's chapter 3, Your Assistant. Now, before I read anything from this chapter, some data here is that I've been doing a lot of studying on, top producers, on how to grow a business, on how to grow an organization, whether it's a candy stand, whether it's a bakery, whether it's a coffee shop, whether it's a mortgage business, whatever. You're building airplanes, it doesn't matter. How to build a successful organization. And one of the key points that data was mentioning, that body of knowledge was mentioning, was how a successful organization has 3 or more people. So I thought it was very interesting how Carl White and a lot of top producers, if you study them, almost always, 100% of the time, have at least 1 assistant. And the bigger guys have 2 or 3 or 4 more assistants plus, right? So before I go into this, I want you guys to think about this, because we're going to be going over this point more in these videos and in future videos, where the top producers have assistants. They have a team. It's not the lone wolf. The lone wolf doesn't survive in an organization, right? It survives maybe in the wild for maybe 10, 15 years, but not in an organization. If you want to build an organization that's going to be 20, 30, 50, 100, 200 years in existence, you need a team, right? So just keep that in mind, is if you want to be in this for the long run and you want to do a ton of deals, ton of productions, millions of dollars, you're going to need a team. All right, the first point in this chapter is my first assistant worked 4 hours a day, 1 day a week. That's super, super, super interesting, because when we think of an assistant, we're thinking, I'm going to need to hire a 9-to-5. It's going to cost me thousands of dollars. I'm not that busy. I don't make enough money. I'm not a top producer. I'm not there yet. These are all thoughts, right? They're thoughts that I have. I'm at that point right now where I'm like, I'm reading this and I'm like, wait, why do I not have an assistant? Why do you not have an assistant, right? He's saying I'm not sure what the minimum wage is, but minimum wage, that's less than $100 a week, maybe even less than $50, depending where you're at, So that's super interesting, where, you can get someone just 1 day a week, maybe 2 to 3 hours a week, and not have to worry about breaking the bank or, it costing you an arm and a leg. So I thought that was very, very interesting. And all the top producers, by the way, have an assistant, like I just mentioned. All right, the next point is on page 49. Clients and referral partners don't want to talk to you specifically. They just want the results. They want the right answer. What he's referring to here is we get so caught up with in regards to hiring people, hiring a team, that's what a lot of this book is about. We get so caught up in thinking that people want us, right? Oh, they're working with me because they want to work with me. They're working with me because they want Enrique's service. And that's true, but they also just want the deal done. In hiring a team, don't get so caught up in people just want me. And even if that's the case, maybe set it up where they still get you, right? Like the doctor. You still go see the doctor, but you only see them for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes. You don't see them for, the whole day or the whole hour. All right, so the next one is on page 52, and it's very interesting. It's actually just a script, like an intro on how you can get people to think that you're thinking about them or you're servicing them when you're really not, or at least not directly. So he gives this script. An example, Dr. Butler wanted me to call you. Next one, Dr. Butler wanted you to know. Next one, Dr. Butler wanted me to tell you. Dr. Butler asked me to call you, right? And this is, by the way, the assistant saying these things. Hey, Enrique told me to call you because blah, blah, blah. Hey, Enrique asked how you're doing. So you feel like Enrique is originating these communications, but really it's just this person and you're inputting, your name, the loan officer, or Enrique's name, or the doctor's name, right? Hey, Dr. Bob wanted me to call you. So you think, oh, Dr. Bob was thinking about me. Whether or not he was, doesn't matter. But to the client, to the consumer, it feels that way. So he gives you that script in case you're kind of having that, confusion, that anxiety of, I only want people to talk to me. People want to hear from me. You can still have them hear from you through this script. So if you're looking to take your business to the next level, close more deals, get more leads, help more families, get more real estate agent partnerships, make sure you check out my website, enriqueandgreatness.com. I have a bunch of materials on there that will help you get more leads and also provide better service to your clients. So I have the presentation materials. These are materials that you use in order to better educate your clients and your real estate agents, right? Because that's going to increase conversion. If they don't know what's going on, if they don't know what's happening, if they don't know how to, apply for a mortgage, they're not going to convert. The marketing materials are things that you're going to give to people to get their attention. So the marketing materials is this trifold. And I also have the newsletter product where I teach you how to make a great newsletter, not a, 5 out of 10 mediocre newsletter. No, these are amazing newsletter. You can check out the reviews. Everyone's loving it. If you guys have any questions, you guys can reach out to me. Also, there's an Ask Enrique section where you can book a call if you have questions on any of these materials or you just want more information. So now back to the video. The next one's on page 58, and this is basically a script or what he tells his employees in regards to handling problems or bringing problems to him so that they can get to a solution a lot faster. Carl, here's the situation, here's what I did, and here's the results of what I did. Now, here's my question, but here's what I think we should do. This is genius, by the way, because if someone brings you a problem, you're not going to know exactly how to solve it, no matter how smart you are, because you don't know the full story. You weren't in that problem, right? And the only one that is the person bringing you the problem. So it makes it easier if that person bringing you the problem has already done their research, has already done their homework, has already, maybe come up with some ideas on what to do. That's basically what he's saying here. Don't just bring me the problem. Bring me the problem, bring me data, and then bring me what you think we should do. And then I'll decide, hey, based on my experience as the executive, what I think we should do as a final solution. So I thought that was genius. This is more in regards to handling employees. And by the way, most of this book is in regards to building a team, getting employees, getting staff, getting an assistant. Next one is actually on the same page, 59. Mistakes happen. As long as we learn from them and change our system and processes so it doesn't happen again, there won't be a problem. Guys, in the beginning, because there's so many things you can mess up on, and there's so many things that you need to know, you're going to miss them. It's just going to happen. It's going to, it's going to break your heart. It's going to break your head, whatever. It's going to make you feel bad. It's going to make you feel terrible in some cases. You might kill a deal. You're going to kill a deal at least once in your career. That's just going to happen. But you can't break your head on it. You can't dwell on it for years and months or decide you're going to leave the business because of it. It's going to happen. All you can do is make a policy for it so it doesn't happen again. And just go like that. And the last one for this book is on page 89. Tuesday, we call everyone involved with loans in process and ask them for a referral. Both agents, both borrowers, the title agent, the insurance agent, and anyone else we can think of. That's genius. And the concept here is ask everyone for a referral, right? Especially these people that you're already having conversations with, you're already talking to, right? So, but this means you have to do a great job. The reason people don't ask for referrals is because you don't think you can do a great job. So that's pretty much it for this book, The Loan Officer Freedom. Again, make sure you guys buy it, link down below. The next one we're going to go over now is actually Loan Officer Champions. I really enjoyed this one. Here he interviews top producers, and as you can see, there's a lot of tabs. There's a lot of notes that I took on this one, Loan Officer Champions. Next one is on page 8. I was successful doing mortgages from the beginning, largely because this was already my mode of thinking as an attorney. Attorneys are not salespeople. They are problem solvers and advisor. I went over this in one of my other videos, you guys. If you want to be a great loan officer, you need to advise. You need to give advice. Right? Hey, here's what I think. This is what I think is going to be the best solution for you. That's what lawyers do. They understand your situation. They ask you about the situation, and then they give you professional advice. They're not just trying to sell you, right? In mortgages, a lot of times, you try to have the sweet talk. Don't have the sweet talk. Another example is a doctor. If you go see a doctor and your arm's broken, he's not going to give you the sweet talk. He's going to say your arm's broken and you need a cast. And it's true, you do need a cast if your arm's broken, and you know that, and so you're going to say, okay, right? There's not any crazy mechanics or thought or scripts that go into this. Understand your craft, right? The doctor also has to know that you need a cast. Understand your craft, ask the questions, be interested in the client, and then you can advise, you can provide a solution, and that's how you're going to be successful. Next one is on page 20. Initially, my biggest challenge in this business was learning how to make the phone ring. Guys, it's very easy to think, hey, I'm going to jump into the business. I'm going to get my license. I'm going to make $1 million my first year. I'm going to, get a Lamborghini. I'm going to get, a $20 million home. I'm going to live the beautiful life. I'm going to get a jet. It's easy to think that, right? Because it's a simple concept. You get your license and you go get loans and you make a lot of money. But right now, and just in general, people aren't getting mortgages every month. It's not like a chocolate bar where, or milk where you get milk once a week or every other week and everyone's buying milk. No. So when you're brand new, you're going to run into that issue where no one's calling you because, number one, no one knows you, and also deals aren't happening, by the thousands. During the refi boom, they were happening by the thousands. That's why all these loan officers came in. I think there was 400,000 loan officers, and now there's 80,000 or 60,000 loan officers because there's no deals, right? I don't even know what that percentage is from 400,000 to 60,000. That's a crazy number. But it's because there's no deals. They're not falling out of the sky. They're tough to come by, right? So you need a strategy for that. And make sure you watch my videos. Make sure you watch the rest of this video to give you ideas on how to generate leads. But that's going to be a big problem or a big opportunity when you're brand new. Next one is on page 21. Having a team ensures our clients are served well and in a timely manner. So as you start getting more leads, more clients, more escrows, more deals, it's going to become very tough. I'm actually going into that, stage in my business right now where I'm getting so many deals, so many leads where it's tough for me to, maintain my quality of service to all these people because there's so many people. So I need a team in order to maintain that service, right? The bigger you get, the more people you need to maintain that level of service. For example, if you're selling 1 cookie a week, you can do that by yourself. But imagine selling 20,000 cookies a week. You cannot do that by yourself and bake some good cookies. It's going to be some terrible cookies if you do 20,000 by yourself, right? So you need to, grow your team proportionally to your business to maintain that level of service. Next one is on page 28, and this is in regards to saving your money and not just blowing all your money. Savings frees you up mentally and emotionally so you can continuously do your best. Guys, in this business, you're going to get some big checks and you're going to be you're going to want to blow that check, go get a Louis Vuitton, go get a car, go get a this, go get a that. But understand that you may make 20,000, even 40,000. My best month was 40,000. But the next month you may make zero. And the next 6 months you may make zero. So that 40,000 over 6 months is not a lot of money. So you shouldn't, once you get to consistent, $40,000 a month for 12 months, then you can start moving up your lifestyle. But don't increase your lifestyle to some crazy level just because you had one great month. Do it once it's predictable. Once you're hey, I've been doing $40,000 months for the past 2 years, then maybe increase your lifestyle. But don't jump into that and make sure you have savings, because if you don't have savings, you're not going to sleep. And you're going to be, forcing your clients, which is what a lot of real estate agents do, because they blow their checks, right? Even loan officers, right? Everyone does it. They blow their checks, and so they start forcing deals. They start forcing clients. They start having that sales breath because they got to pay their rent, right? And they have no money because they blew it on Louis Vuitton. They blew it on the Lamborghini. So make sure you save your money. You're careful with your money, and you don't, build up a crazy lifestyle before you're actually there. So if you're interested in becoming a loan officer and you don't know where to start or what to do, go to my website, enriqueandgreatness.com. Under Get License, I have all the steps, and I also have some videos that I personally made on how to get your license and go about the process. There's also a special discount code provided by Encores, who are offering the Enrique and Greatness family 20% off your pre-licensing education. So make sure you guys check them out. They're one of the leading online platforms for pre-licensing education. I use them for my licensing, and they do a phenomenal job. So make sure you take advantage of those savings. And if you still have questions, you can go under Ask Enrique and book a free 30-minute Zoom call with me and ask me anything. Maybe you're not sure if you want to do full-time or part-time or what company or whatever, or you just want my advice. So you could go on there, book a call with me. It's absolutely free. You can do as many as you want, and you can ask me anything. Now back to the video. All right, this is one of my favorites, page 36. Another thing that helped us make it through 2007 crash was me being willing to take a second job and work extra to pay the bills and keep the doors open. He talks about how he was a cook or a catering company, right? So depending when you start your business, how new you are and what economy, you might need to take a part-time. You might need to have a full-time, right? Maybe you can't do full-time loan officer in the beginning. Maybe you can only do a few hours. Maybe you got to work at a grocery store. By the way, in the beginning, I actually got a job at a grocery store because I wasn't having the volume as a loan officer, right? My first year, I made like less than 20,000, less than 15,000, I forgot. But it was a very little amount. In the beginning, you're not going to make a lot of money, you guys. Maybe you can. I don't know. You have great coaching. If you have great, systems, you watch my videos, my coaching. If you have other coaching, you're going to do it. You're going to make a lot of money. But the average person isn't making, $250,000 or $1 million their first year. You might make 10,000 your first year, but your second year, you're going to make 20. And then your third year, you're going to make 50. And then you're going to make 100 and then 300 and then 500, right? But the point here is, don't feel like, hey, it's beneath me to go get a second job or work at a movie theater or work as a janitor. I've worked as a janitor in college. I didn't even need to work as a janitor because my college was being paid for by my parents. And I didn't need, and they were also giving me an allowance. I didn't need to work, but I had 2 jobs during college because you want to have that mindset of I gotta work. Even if you don't need the money, you gotta work, right? You gotta keep your body in motion, keep your mind occupied, go out there and get some work done, even if it's free. You know what I mean? Even if you don't need the money. So in the beginning, you might need to get a second job. Don't feel bad about it. Use it as energy, as drive to become successful as a loan officer. Next one is actually my absolute favorite in this book, page 40. I have found there is no magic bullet, no single strategy that creates success. A lot of the top producers, the top trainers, the top coaches, the guys on stages are going to tell you that, hey, this one thing will change your life. This one thing will change your business. This one thing will build you a 10x mortgage business. That's not true. A successful organization, it's an organization. It's different things that go into it, right? So this guy got it spot on. It's different things. It's a bunch of things that make a successful organization, not just one thing. So don't go out there looking for the magic bullet. If there's a coach or there's a trainer that's like, hey, this one thing's going to make you a great mortgage. Marketing is going to make you a great mortgage company. No, because you can have great marketing, but if you have a terrible product, you're not going to go anywhere. You need great everything, right? Great marketing, great product, great handling of your money, great quality control, great janitor, etc., right? You need great everything, not great one thing. So I love that point here. The next one is on page 79. My training consisted of going to the office in the afternoons after my day job and sitting in Peach's office to listen as she conducted business. This one thing I actually forgot about, so I love that they mentioned it here. When you're brand new, it's really, really helpful to go into the company, to go into your office, because you can listen in on, the people in your office. You can listen to your coworkers, how they're pitching. I remember there was this one time where there was this one deal, and a week later, or that same week, I had that same scenario come up. And because I had listened in, I knew the solution for my real estate agent partner. So I was like, hey, oh yeah, I know how that works, XYZ. right? So very, very helpful going into the office so you can kind of get that energy and also get the knowledge from the top producers, from your coworkers. There's so much to learn in this business. Next one is on page 94. You want your business to metaphorically be like McDonald's. Everybody comes in and gets the same experience. Think about that, guys. You want to deliver great service, but in order to do that, you need policy. And on top of that, if you're handling a lot of people, a lot of leads, a lot of deals, a lot of clients, you need a team, right? So it's about policy and it's about a team. If you have those two things, you can operate like McDonald's. What do they have? They have policy. They have the ingredients, right? The next one is we mail them old-fashioned tangible snail mail in the form of handwritten envelopes or postcards once a month. We also email them once a week. So again, being in front of your customer, being in front of your clients. Here, they're doing it through mail, right? Which is a pretty penny, but once you're getting to a top producer, you can probably do that. Even if you're not a top producer, do this for your past clients. Do it for your hot leads, right? Send them out a mailer. And then it mentions once a week an email. That's where I talk about my newsletter. Guys, if you don't have a newsletter, your business is not going to operate at the level it should be, regardless of how big you are. It's something very, very small that you can do. It's free, right? You do it once and you can send it to thousands of people. So if you don't have a newsletter, make sure you get a newsletter, make your newsletter. If you don't know how to make it, make sure you check out my website, enriqueandgreatness.com. I have a product where I teach you exactly how I make my newsletter. Look at the comments. People are loving it. So check out the reviews on there and you'll see people are loving the newsletter. You need a newsletter. It keeps you in front of them without having to call them every single month and talk about mortgages. People don't want to talk about mortgages every single week. So if you can just email them, a quick little newsletter or some snail mail, that's going to do a big, big thing for your business. All right, next one and last one in this book and for the video, it's not worth growing just to grow. That has a lot of data in there. It's not worth growing just to grow. What does that person mean by that? A lot of us, we want to grow. We're out there prospecting like crazy. We're out there, spending like crazy or whatever. We're trying to build a big organization. But if you can't sustain that growth, then you're going to collapse, right? You try to build a big castle out of, paper. It's going to be bigger. But the one that's going to really last is the one that's being built out of concrete, right? It takes a while for concrete to settle. Right? Faster than paper. Paper, you just fold in, it's ready to go. But the wind comes along and it completely blows it away, right? Concrete, that thing will be there for decades. If you're going to collapse after a growth, that wasn't a real, genuine growth. It was just, a fluke. So that's pretty much it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned. I'm going to be reading more books from top producers and sharing what I think, was really, really helpful. Again, make sure you guys purchase these books. I got them on Amazon. The first one is Loan Officer Freedom by Carl White. The other one is Loan Officer Champions by Carl White as well. This one was my favorite between the two. They're both great, but this one was my absolute favorite because he's interviewing top producers. So that's pretty much it for today's video. If you guys have questions, leave them down below. Email me, send me a DM on Instagram, and also feel free to book a free call with me on my website, enriqueandgreatness.com, under Ask Enrique. You could book a free 30-minute Zoom call. See you for the next one and be great.